In this video, I will be talking about 10-4, adding mixed numbers. When we're adding mixed numbers, usually the directions will say estimate, then find the sum. It's a good idea to estimate your solution first so that when you get an answer, you know if it's reasonable or not. If we wanted to find the sum of 2 2/3 plus 1 1/2, here's what we would do. First, I'm going to estimate using what we learned in 10-3. 2 2/3 is in between 2 and 3. But since 2/3 is bigger than 1/2, 2 2/3 rounds up to 3. 1 1/2 falls in between 1 and 2, but for a half or more we round up, so I would round up to 2. So my estimate for this sum is about 5. Now we will actually solve and see what we get. When we are adding mixed numbers, the first step is to add the whole numbers. The second step is to add the fraction part, and the third step is to put it all together. So, 1, add whole, 2, add fractions, and 3 put together. Okay, so when I do this, I like to stack my numbers one on top of the other like this. 1 1/2. I need to first find equivalent fractions for 2/3 and 1/2 so that I have a common denominator, because we learned last topic that I can only add fractions if they have a common denominator. So I'm going to rewrite both of these mixed numbers so that they have a common denominator. The least common denominator of 2 and 3 is 6, so I will make that my denominator. 1/2 is 3/6, and 2/3 is 4/6. So you're really going to have to use what we learned in the past topic about equivalent fractions. Now I'll add this right part. I'm going to first add the whole numbers. 2 plus 1 is 3. Then I'll add my fractions. 4/6 plus 3/6 is 7/6. And now this step 3, put it together, means that if you have an improper fraction like 7/6, make it into a proper fraction, meaning 7/6 is 1 whole 6/6, which is 6/6, and 1/6 left over. So now I'll put together my 3 and my 1 and 1/6 to get 4 and 1/6. You don't want an improper fraction like 7/6 in a mixed number, so the correct answer would be 4 and 1/6, which is pretty reasonable because it's close to 5. Let's look at another example together. Let's say I had something like 1 7/8 plus 1 1/4. Okay, first I'm going to estimate 1 7/8 rounds to 2, 1 1/4 rounds to 1, so my estimate is about 3. I'll check back at the end to make sure that my answer is reasonable. Next, I'm going to stack my two numbers, and I'm going to rewrite them so that they have a common denominator. So, for 8 and 4, the LCD, lowest common denominator, is 8, so I can leave 7/8 the same, and I'll change 1/4 to 2/8. Now I'm going to add the whole numbers. 1 plus 1 is 2, and then I'll add the fractional pieces. 7/8 plus 2/8 is 9/8. Now I need to put these two things together. Remember, you can't have an improper fraction in a mixed number. So I'm going to change 9/8 to 1 1/8, because that would be like 8/8, 1 whole, plus another eighth, and then I can combine that with my 2. So I get 3 and 1/8 as my final answer, which, going back and checking, it is reasonable because it's close to 3. We're going to look at one more example together just to make sure that you are really comfortable with this. The next one I'm going to do is 6 5/12 plus 4 5/8. First, I'm going to stack my two numbers, and then I need to find a common denominator for 8 and 12. The lowest common denominator is 24. So I'm going to rewrite both of my mixed numbers so that the fractional part has a denominator of 24. To get from 12 to 24, I multiply by 2, so 5 times 2 is 10. So that's my numerator. To get from 8 to 24, I multiply by 3, so my numerator, 5 times 3, is 15. Now I can add up my whole numbers. 6 plus 4 is 10. And I can add up my fractions. 10 24ths plus 15 24ths is 25 24ths. Now, to put all this together, I need to make sure that I don't have an improper fraction here. So I'm going to change 25 24ths to 1 and 1 24th. I'll put that together with my 10 to get my final answer of 11 and 1 24th. I want you to use what you've learned in this video. Go back and rewatch the last 3 examples if you're still a bit confused. But use what you learned to solve this word problem. Annie skated 1 3/4 miles from home to the lake, and then 1 1/3 miles back home. How far did she skate in all? Remember, in all means to add. First, you'll need to stack your numbers and then come up with common denominators. Then you'll add the whole numbers, then add the fractions, and then you can put it all together by making sure you don't have an improper fraction. Good luck!